This segment of the show is brought to you by the PGA Tour Superstore. See why golfers everywhere are proud to call PGA Tour Superstore their golf pro shop. Visit them online at pgasuperstore.com. Now, back to you, Chris.
All right, now back in making his fifth appearance with me here on the French Lick Resort guest line is Chris Sheehan. Let me remind you a little bit about Chris's background. He's from Warwick, Rhode Island. He attended Trinity College over in Hartford, Connecticut, where he was the captain of the baseball and hockey teams and was an all-region and all-American nominee in both sports. In golf, Chris won the 2003 Western New York PGA Section Assistant Professional Championship and tied for 38th at the TaylorMade Adidas National Assistant Professional Championship that same year. Spent 6 seasons working alongside 3 of Golf Digest top 100 instructors, including Bill and Craig Harmon, plus Todd Stones as well. 2009, Chris was the PGA South Florida Section's Private Club Merchandiser of the Year. He's been a PGA professional since 1999 and worked at clubs like Bighorn Golf Club, Oak Hill Country Club, Inverness, Tuscany Reserve Golf Club, Getaway Golf and Country Club, and Pelican's Nest Golf Club. And like I said at the top of the show, he is now the head golf professional at Lebanon Country Club up in Lebanon, Pennsylvania. He's also been the president of the Southwestern Florida chapter of PGA Professionals, and I'm very excited. He is back with me again tonight here on Next on the Tee. Hey, Chris, thanks for coming back on the show.
Oh, it's always a pleasure. I appreciate the invitation. It's great to be with you.
So, Chris, catch us up. What's been going on with you so far this year?
Well, we've had a good year so far. It's not raining, so 2018 was a little bit of a curse for Pennsylvania and in the area, and places like us at Lebanon and Hershey Country Club and the whole area. We had, I think, 90 inches of rain that started in early July and went all the way to the fall. We were. Dan Brickley, our maintenance, our superintendent, did a great job just keeping us open. We were playing par fours and par threes and rerouting people from the first tee through the range to the first hole. But this year has been great. The weather's been nice. Obviously, we're in a nice little hot spell right now, so that poses other challenges to the superintendents of the country. But so far, so good. The club's buzzing. We're adding new members. We're getting younger. The junior program is still thriving. We've got our big national better ball coming up. The Sullivan is next week. It's a 4-day event. We draw teams from 10 to 15 states that come up and play a 74-year-old event, a 4-day better ball event. So everything's cooking right now. We're glad to have good weather. We're glad to have a sort of a rebound year, and we still got a lot of golf left this summer.
And Chris, for those who aren't as familiar with Lebanon Country Club, again, it's an Alexander Finley design who many people credit with being the founder of American golf. Talk about your golf course itself and its history as well.
Yeah, the golf course is fantastic. We're celebrating our centennial year next year in 2020. We've been around for 100 years, but it has been increasingly so in recent years. It's been sort of the darling of the Pennsylvania State Golf Association as far as hosting big time events. We had the state senior better ball this year. We've got the ladies, all 3 ladies championships next year. We had the senior match play two years ago. It always hosts an open qualifier. It's just a great golf course that maxes out at 6,400 yards. It's raised great players that have played Division I golf and gone on to the PGA Tour, like Greg Lesher and Blaine Peffley, and Division I golfers at Vanderbilt, like Chris Gebhardt, and who's won the last 2 Sullivans. It just is one of those places where you have to move the ball right to left off the tee and left to right off the tee. It's got long fours, short par fours, long threes, short threes, gettable par fives, unreachable par fives. And the greens are tiny. They're old push-up greens. Some of them are probably 80 years old. And you got to learn how to chip and putt. So it creates a ton of great short game guys. We just finished our club championship last week, where the guy who won, rightfully so, he missed 1 green in the first 18 holes of a 36-hole final, and just and made some putts. So you obviously have to put it in play, but you got to put it on the greens. You always have chances for birdies. when you do hit the greens, because they are that small, and they're undulating when they need to be, and they're flat when they need to be. Just very well done. It's an amazing piece of property. It's just an amazing place, and it's raised a lot of great golfers, and we're trying to forge ahead with the juniors here and create another generation of not necessarily great golfers, but just great lovers of the game. And that's my job as the club professional, is just create love affairs with these kids and the game, and then all of a sudden they follow in their dad's footsteps and they join, and when they have kids, their kids play, and then they join, and that's how clubs last 100 years. You have to have a good steward of the game and a good club pro that really stresses, not necessarily being good at it, but just loving it. And that's what we're trying to do. So it's a great place. It's a fantastic place. It's one of the neatest places in the middle of kind of nowhere. And it's just awesome. And the Pennsylvania State Golf Association keeps rewarding us with great events. And we're happy to host, and it's good for men, for seniors, for ladies, and as our kids are finding out, it's fun to play for them as well.
And Chris, with Findlay being Scottish, is it a link-style golf course with that kind of terrain, or is it a more traditional American course that we're all used to seeing?
No, it's very Parkland. You've got the front nine on one half. It's almost a symmetrical. It's almost a symmetrical property where the first nine is on one half and the back nine is on the other half, and each nine actually pitches toward the center of the property for drainage. It's tree lined. Obviously, Pennsylvania and this area is going through some tree disease, so we still have thousands of trees, but it's very old school, classical. Move it left to right. Everything's tree lined. There's nothing linksy about it. But you certainly have plenty of choices when you're hitting approaches. There's not a lot of front green bunkers that you need to carry over. You can always hit that little punch shot through the gap of the left front bunker and the right front bunker. So it's not an air attack sort of golf course. It's something where you have choices, and when you have wedges, you can go at it, and when you have longer approaches, you can run it through the center of the green. It's got some greens that are on hills that you can play high to, you play low to as well, and it just has a lot of choices, which I think architects of his era gave you those choices because of that European influence. Which is really fun, and it's one of the reasons why people who say it. We just had the state seniors, and we had folks from Oakmont and Aronimink, and making their first visit to the facility, and said, "Man, I could play this every day." And it's one of the neat things about the club is that you never get bored. It's tight and it's tough, and the greens are small, but it's not too long, so you have options of where you can let it out or where you can lay back. And then you have choices coming into the greens as well.
And Chris, you've talked about juniors here. You mentioned juniors a couple of times. For the people in the central Pennsylvania area, talk about the programs that you offer for junior golfers and adult players as well.
Yeah, the juniors has really been, as you and I have talked, it's really been, sort of the highlight of my existence at the club. When I got there, we had 8 kids sign up for junior golf in 2017, and last year we saw more than 80 kids come through the program.
Wow!
We're just making it fun, and we're creating, a basic approach to the game. It's very young. I have a gap of ages. I don't have many of the 10 to 15-year-olds. So we run 2 age groups. Sort of a 10 and under and an 11 and up, and it's about 50 kids in the young group and about 20 to 30 in the older group. And, the younger kids were trying to make it fun. Today we were sort of lightening out. We were in the ballroom tonight, so we were doing some chipping and pitching in the ballroom. And we had a little contest where they had to chip it into my baseball glove, and if they got 5 in the last 10 minutes, they all got ice cream. And so that was exciting for them. It's not that rain is a deterrent to having fun. You can do it in your house. You can do it indoors. And that was something that I hope that they took with them tonight. But the older kids were working on getting them on the golf course. You know, there's something about learning how to play, but learning how to swing and learning how to chip and learning how to putt. But the most important thing for me this year with my older kids is getting them out on the golf course. And I had a lesson the other day with a younger, probably a 9 or 10-year-old kid, and I said, look, my goal for you at the end of these 3 weeks is to get you to go up to your dad in the house and say, Dad, let's go play golf. And so we focus on, you know, how to play, where to stand, how to fix ball marks, rake bunkers. You know, the technical stuff will come, and they're all growing and their bodies are changing, and they'll have a general understanding of what they're supposed to do. But my goal is to create golfers, is to really stress that you can do this, no matter how good or good you are. But go ahead and grab your dad or your mom. Say, hey, Mom, let's go play 9. Or, hey, Mom, let's go play 3. Or, hey, Mom, let's go play, let's go play a little scramble. Or let's go play an alternate shot. And just to get them to the club. And, you know, it's kind of my job as a club professional is to promote the game, but also to promote their activity at the club and get them out there as much as they can. I've always taken the opinion that, you know, the folks that play 2 times a week, if I get them there a 3rd time, that's a bonus. And the folks that play 3 times a week, if I get them there a 4th time, that's a bonus. And if you allocate 4 hours for your golf game, but I can say, you know, how about come hit balls for 30 minutes, and how about come stay for a Coke and some fries after? That promotes the club, and I've always tried to sort of expand upon that with my staff. Is, you know, let's get them here, but let's get them here 1 more time a week, and let's get them here 1 more hour every time they come, and that's how clubs become successful. So I'm happy to be in that role.
Chris, let's switch gears a little bit. And you spent 3 years out at Oak Hill, one of the most prestigious golf courses that we have in the country. Our good friend here on the show, Sean McKeel, won the 2003 PGA Championship there. We've seen guys like Jack Nicklaus and Lee Trevino, Jason Duffner all win majors out at Oak Hill. So just wanted to get a couple of quick thoughts from you about your time there and maybe some of the great legends or stories that you heard while you were a part of that golf club.
Yeah, it was, you know, for someone who didn't grow up playing golf and getting into the game the way that I did, it was really especially, boy, what am I now? I'm almost 16 years gone from Oak Hill, which is an amazing thing to think that. You said I started being a club pro in 1999. I'm trying to think of where 20 years went, but you know, Oak Hill is just one of those. It's one of those places. It just when you set foot on the property, when you pull in the driveway, you just have this feeling that it is just it's just a magical place. And walking around the clubhouse and being in the golf shop and in the men's locker room and seeing the plaques and the testimonies that they have on their website, and just how good the golf course was, and playing it hundreds of times, and just, you know, being, you know, at the point of submission, because it's just such a fair, hard golf course, and learning how to play. For me, really, I mean, I was only in the golf business for maybe 2 or 3 years before I started working there. So that's really where I learned how to play, so to speak. And, you know, the membership, just being so embracing of the history of the game and the history of major championships, and at the same time trying to, you know, play 40,000 rounds a year, and understanding how special of a place it was. And you know, they're going through some changes now with the golf course, and, you know, the modern tree cutting and all of that stuff. And I was there briefly for about a day. I think it was last winter, and you know, they've cut a lot of trees down. It's a different appearance. And you saw the Senior Open there this year. I think it was the Senior Open, and, you know, it's a different look. But it's still, you know, as Ross designed it, everything's in front of you, and you still got to hit the shots. And it's just an amazing place. You know, privileged to work there. I was privileged to work at Inverness, which is coming up with a championship soon. And places like that, the one thing that always caught my eye was just how giving the membership was. I mean, when when the volunteer ballots came out, it was sold out in a day or two. And they embraced the game so hard, and they love their facility so much. And at the end of the week of a major championship, to see what they've pulled off, that they've started planning 3 years in advance, was just, it was honestly, it was awe-inspiring that what these folks do and what it means to the area, what it means to Rochester golf, and what it means to any place that hosts a major, where you have a private club that closes their doors to their members for a week or 2 or 3 and says, you know what, come see what we have here. We're really proud to have you. And there's no futzing about it. They embrace the players, they embrace the history, they embrace everything. And I love that about Oak Hill. You never heard anything about, we got another major coming up. It was just like, we got a major. Let's get involved. And I love that. So one of my favorite things about working at places like that is just, it was never about anything other than, this is who we are, and we're going to show you how good we can do this. And I love that about it.
Chris, a couple more before I let you go, and I want to get a couple of playing lessons for our listeners, and I want to start by getting your advice for how we can stop the dreaded slice off the tee. If we're a banana slicer off the tee, what are some things that we can do? What are some drills that we can do to fix that?
Well, if you look at slicers generally, and you know me, I'm a baseball player, so I tend to equate a lot of things in golf, which is a contact sport, to a lot of things in baseball, which obviously hitting the baseball is a contact sport, but throwing the baseball is also very relative to the golf swing. Most slicers of the ball swing high to high, so their backswing is very vertical. Their left arm sort of comes up, and they sort of bisects their right shoulder and their chin. And the follow through is very vertical. Somehow, some way in the history of time, somebody told somebody to swing to the target. So the follow through is always at the hole rather than around your body. And if you swing a club that runs vertical to vertical, the ball's going to slice no matter what. It's just the way it is. So if you take a baseball pitcher and you give him a curveball hold and you release it from over your head, the ball's going to break down. But if you give him that same grip on a baseball and release it from the side of your hip, the ball will curve across your body. And so the point of release of the baseball pitcher's curveball, whether it's at 12 o'clock or at 9 o'clock, the ball spins differently. And so golfers need to take that same sort of approach to swinging the golf club. If you release it from 12 o'clock, you're always going to follow through to upwards. So you're always going to swing it. You're always going to slice it. So what I try and get my players to do is to swing more around their waist. And a lower swing plane that follows through at a lower swing plane will completely reverse the spin of a slice. And so if you think about taking the club back sort of high versus taking the club back around your waist, you're going to be given the incentive to release it around your waist, or you're going to be given the incentive to release it at the target, because no one who swings it back vertically wants to swing to the left. But the golf club, since the history of time, is manufactured on an angle, which tells you it should go in a circle. And most slicers defy that science and swing it vertically up and vertically up on the backswing and the follow through, and they're going to get a slice no matter what they do. I mean, you can give someone a stronger grip, but if they still swing it vertically, instead of them slicing it, they'll hit low hooks. And so when I work with students, what I try and work on is the shape of the swing, not necessarily the grip or, pulling the right foot back or trying to get a ham sandwich grip so that the club releases. I'm really a proponent of a very neutral grip, but just changing where the club comes from, which will dictate where the club goes to. And if you swing it high, you'll finish high. If you swing it low, you'll finish low. And I think when you do those two things, you'll see a drastic reversal of spin of the golf ball. And so someone with an average swing with a very good setup, very good aim, and very good alignment, and very good posture, and very good ball position, you take all those pre-shot things out of the way, you can hit any curve of the ball based on where it comes from. And I always equate that to a baseball pitcher and his variety of cutters and sliders and 12 to 6 curveballs. Where it comes from dictates where it will finish, and that dictates where the ball will spin.
Chris, one more before I let you go. And when you're teaching whether it's your junior or your adult students, one of the things that my buddies and I struggle with is reading putts. We either overread or underread putts, and so oftentimes we'll talk about how, wow, I can't believe it broke that far. I can't believe it broke that way. When you're teaching your students how to read greens, what are some fundamentals that can help us be better readers of the green?
Well, it's a great question. It's a really hard question, only because most players, for me in particular, I'm a very soft speed putter, so I tend to play more break. If you're someone who tends to hit it firmer, you have to understand that, there's less break, and in any putt, there's always more break when the putt is slowing down. So I tend to try and die my putts into the hole, so I play more break. I have an assistant who's a phenomenal player who plays everything so firm that we were at the state pro assistant in New Jersey last week, and we're on the third hole, and he's like, I like this. And I said, I am so far outside that it's unbelievable. And so it's just a totally different thing. You're playing a team event. We've never played a team event before. And, he's looking at a cup, and I'm looking at a foot. And so you have to understand what kind of putter you are, first of all. If you're an aggressive type putter who tends to hit firmer, and if you miss, you got 3 or 4 feet. I don't ever want to see a 3 or 4 footer for the rest of my life. So I'm looking at 6 inches. Whether I make or miss, I don't care. But so that's the first determination of how much break you should play, is find out what kind of putter you are. Are you a defensive putter like me, or you're an aggressive putter like the 30-year-old assistant I have who never misses? And you just say, what, this is who I'm going to be. But, the old adage is, stand on top of the hole and pour a bucket of water, and where does the water fall? And how fast would that water fall in that direction? It sort of tells you the general break of the green. He's into the new sort of putting reading where he goes halfway through up his putt, and he puts, he side saddles the putt, and he's trying to figure out the break. I'm just where's this water going, and how close can I get this to dying in the hole? So, first and foremost, find out what kind of putter you are. Everybody's different. If you're nervous out there, if you're aggressive out there, it's going to change. But if you tend to have your pace of your putt on the slower side, play more. And if you tend to have the pace of your putt on the faster side, certainly play less.
Chris, I can't let you go without getting your pick for the Open Championship this week. Who do you like? Who do you think's at the top of the leaderboard come Sunday?
Woo, that's a good question. British Opens are difficult. Other than Ben Curtis in 2003, it seems to be everybody with experience, whether it's a lot of tour experience, a lot of years of experience, or a lot of European-style play experience wins these things. Oh boy, you just saw Mickelson this week, said he's not even close. Haven't heard a lot from Molinari this week. Spieth is on the mend. You look at the last 4 or 5, Molinari, Spieth, Stenson, Johnson, McIlroy. It's cool to see Darren Clark hitting the first tee shot in his hometown. You got some hot players, Bernd Wiesberger, Matthew Fitzpatrick. Cantley's a can't-miss kid. I'm going to go with I'm going to take Rory.
All right. Got a lot of pressure being in essentially his hometown, so it'll be interesting to see how he deals with that. But he would certainly be a popular win. Chris, remind our listeners how they can follow you both online and on social media.
Well, I'm on Twitter at LEBCCPro, LebCCPro, and you follow me on Facebook, Christian Sheehan, and the Country Club's website is lebcc.com. And we got a new website rolling out this year, kind of working through that as we go through the summer. But you can find me anywhere. Central Pennsylvania is a great place to be. It's a great golfing area, and it's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be at Lebanon Country Club, and pleasure to grow the game the best I can.
Chris, it's always a good time having you as part of the show. Thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come back and join me again tonight. I hope you'll come back and join me again real soon, my friend. It's always a pleasure having you here.
You know me. I will always say yes to you, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say, you are awesome at what you do, and everybody who you talk to and all of your guests say the same thing. You're just so prepared and so great at it, and me as a golf professional appreciate everything you do to help us grow this game, and the game you love and I love, and I'm so thankful to have this opportunity to talk to you.
I appreciate that very, very much, Chris. Take care, my friend. All the best to you and your family. Look forward to catching up with you again real soon.
I look forward to it. Thank you, Chris.
You bet. Take care, Chris. That's Chris Sheehan, and Sheehan is the spelling of his last name. Again, he's up at Lebanon Country Club in Lebanon, Pennsylvania, doing a great job there, growing the game. You heard it, right? Junior program only had a handful of kids, and now he's got 50 or 60 of them as a part of that. So he's doing such a fantastic job up there, growing our game and being a part of that country club. And again, historic country club. You heard him. It's going to be celebrating their centennial anniversary next year. So really looking forward to having Chris as we run up to that for next year. And what a wonderful golf club it looks like. Take a look at it online. Certainly look forward to having Chris back on the show again real soon.